one of the deepest roots and meanings of the word fear is to move through. And your fear is one of the best teachers that you have, and also one of the biggest guides that you have. If you look what it is that you're afraid of and how you're responding to what it is that you're afraid of, most likely it's creating some avoidance in your life. You're avoiding doing something, you're avoiding saying something, you're avoiding being something, showing up, whatever it is. And the more that you continue to perpetuate that avoiding and let fear rule your life, the more you're going to stay stuck. And the way through fear is to move through. And so you want to confront exactly that which it is that you've been avoiding for the week, for the month, for your entire life. And when you confront it, and I recommend confronting it in like small doses. So expose yourself in an environment that feels safe to explore this fear, and then see how that goes. Work with it, feel it, process it, and then expose yourself to something perhaps that feels even more vulnerable. The thing is that you want to confront that which it is that you're afraid of. And now that I'm putting this out there, and now I'm going to tell you about a workshop that we're doing, you're like, oh, we can't go there. She's going to make us do something that we don't want to do. Never the case. The thing is if you have that fear, that's exactly what I would say to come and get in touch with what it is that you are afraid of. It's about after the workshop that I'm going to encourage you to actually do something about it, not in it. In the workshop, we're going to get into touch with what it is that's going on underneath. What is this fear really about? How far back does it go? We're going to get into its roots, and then it's up to you afterwards to move through it. And we're going to support you in that process. But that's where your work really comes in.
You know, when you're saying this, what I'm thinking about is that a big part of the work is first to find it. This is what we're doing in the workshop. And this sometimes happens also when you're going to sessions with like a coach or a therapist or with a good friend that's holding space for you. And the bigger part, or as big part, is to admit it, to say it out loud. Sometimes this is such a huge part of the healing, because the fear is not to go and do it. Usually the doing, to be honest, is pretty easy. The fear is to think about it out loud, to say it, to admit it, and to see it in the eyes of another person, that you're actually saying it and getting that perception of someone else while you're admitting that fear, that you're admitting you want something, that you're afraid of something, that suddenly, because something's, you need to break down this character, this facade that you have about yourself of who am I, and I'm not afraid of doing that, or I get all of that, or not. Once we are starting to be seen by other people, and this is what we're doing in the work that me and Justine are doing, it's in a group context. Sometimes big groups, sometimes small groups, but there's always people there to give you witnessing and to anchor what you've just gone through. And then when you do this, this is like a safe container, or a safer container. It's like a laboratory where you can experiment. Because some people remind you of other people. This reminds me of my mom. This one is a good friend of mine. This is like a coworker. This is someone that I like. Maybe I'm attracted to. This one I don't care and they want me. All kinds of thoughts that are going in our mind. And when we start expressing our fear through different kind of characters, we get different kind of responses. And then we also know which person triggers us. Like which person we don't want to be vulnerable in front. Which one we are really afraid to get the response that we don't. Who are we afraid of? And this is what's so amazing, doing this work in a group situation before you take it to real life. It gives you like a good way to prepare. How do you say it in English? Like when you have a rehearsal and you do it, like you do a rehearsal before.
It kind of brings your life into the laboratory.
Yeah.
And gives you a space where you can work through things, you can feel things, you've got support, and then you can do the test run. And then you go back out into life and apply it there when you've already started to really move through those blocks that you were originally afraid of. So it becomes easier when you've already done the test run.
Yeah, exactly. And there were some people there that you can ask questions, and they're all there for you. When you are on the hot seat, as Justine calls it, everybody's there for you. So you can go through the run and ask the questions and get the empathy and maybe get judgments or observations, but it's all in your mind. And the more vulnerable you are about it, the more you share, you realize that you cannot get hurt when you are vulnerable, especially when you're in a safer container, when you're in a place where everybody has the rules of engagement. And the more and more we allow ourselves to be in such spaces, the more we can have the courage to just walk up into the ring and, and act in this world, play, achieve what we want, and not avoid in order to not get hurt.
It's about deepening the process. Because if you do get hurt, that's such a beautiful window in. Why is it that I'm hurt? What is it that's going on? And every trigger, every hurt is an opportunity for deeper healing, as long as you take it and you turn within rather than staying focused on the outside. And so welcome those opportunities, because they are your biggest gifts, as is your fear. It's your guiding light.
Yes. If this resonates inside of you, if our words touches somewhere and you're like, I'm a bit afraid, but I want that, somewhere below there's like a link to our event, and please come. You're welcome.